So hello everyone, and it's such a pleasure being here today. In November 2011, I got married to my beautiful husband, Mike, in Venezuela, where I'm from. And it was in a very small island called Isla de Margarita, which is in Spanish, or you can call it Margarita Island. Let me just change hands. During this time, we decided to have a non-traditional honeymoon. We in fact traveled to Peru, which was our very first pit stop in our 4-month South American trip with his parents and a bunch of friends, so don't judge me. During this time, we obviously decided to do the Inca Trail, and we took the hardest way to get to Machu Picchu, which was by trekking 4 days. Very challenging, but one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever experienced and lived. Surprisingly, getting to Machu Picchu wasn't the most rewarding experience at that point in time. We got to Machu Picchu, but before then, we actually were given one of the most gorgeous and thoughtful things that we could have ever had imagined. Above 2,400 meters above sea level, we were given a wedding cake. So you see, they have these men, they're called Sherpas, and they're small. Peruvian people aren't particularly tall. So these men are like rushing through, and you're just like, oh my God, I can't breathe. These guys are running fast, and they're carrying that on their backs. They're carrying their tents, the water you're gonna drink. Has anybody been to Machu Picchu, by the way? Has anybody done the Inca Trail? Exhausting. Did you get a wedding cake? No? Well, I did. And it turns out that these guys seem to have had an oven as well. And really, the reason why I'm sharing this experience with you is because I genuinely think that we can all create memorable experiences. And we don't need to have particularly the resources in place. These guys didn't have an oven. To this day, I don't even know how they make this freaking cake. Which, by the way, it tastes beautiful. It tastes like chocolate. And I think it had a bit of cocoa at least, because we slept like babies. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about crafting memorable customer experience. And I'm going to be showing you how you can also do that in your businesses, okay? I mentioned my name is Wiecek, and you can probably see by now I'm not Australian, I'm from Venezuela. I moved to London for 7 years of my life, so my accent is a combination of American English, British English, and Australian, so apologies. Before we get started, we'd love to know who is in the room. Sounds good? Okay, cool. So we're gonna do this Latin style, and we're gonna do a bit of a Mexican wave, yeah? Okay, so you're going to do a Mexican wave, so if the description that I'm going to say applies to you, so you're going to go, let's just say we're going to go from this side to that side. Sounds good? Okay, so participate in the Mexican wave if you are an entrepreneur, startup founder, or own your own business. Now, nice, good job, that was good. Okay, so participate in the wave if you have employees working for you. Ooh, I feel the pain. Yep, one day, don't worry, it will happen. Participate in the Mexican wave if you have a part-time or full-time job, perhaps in the corporate world, but you would like to own your own business. Ooh. You got it, okay? And now participate in the wave if you love the League of Extraordinary Women. Woo! Good job, awesome, thank you so much everyone. That gives me a really good idea of what we got in the room. So, there is this quote from Woody Allen that mentions 80% of success is showing up. So well done to you for turning up today. You're already ahead of a lot of women out there who haven't started their journeys. And so one of the things that I want to tell you is that showing up isn't easy, and it's a choice. And it's a choice that you have to make every freaking day. And it's like going to the gym, and you're waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning and going, oh, I don't really want to go to the gym. But you gotta go. Because you know if you go to the gym, you will feel pretty good about yourself. And it's like when you want to go to the gym and it's 4 a.m. in the morning and your alarm goes off, and the first time that you do this is freaking hard. It's not easy, you don't want to do it. Over time, that 4 a.m. alarm clock might not be needed, and you might just wake up and like, I'm heading to the gym. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. So building customer memorable experiences, it starts with you. And that's the takeaway I want you to make. It doesn't start with Instagram, it doesn't start with Facebook, it doesn't start with your website, it starts with you. And you're in control of this, and I'm going to show you how. So, the power of customer experiences is really something that I believe is like a muscle. And as I mentioned, it's like working out and going to the gym, like freaking Beyonce, she's super fit. But for her to get probably that six-pack that she probably has, she has to go to the gym every single day. So when you make decisions about making memorable customer experience, you have to actually turn up every single day. So, we know that creating customer experiences that are memorable require a bunch of different things. But we know when we create them, they're profitable, they show care to the customers or followers that we have, and they're really important. Because turning up is one thing, but turning up and having a smile on your face is another thing. So, we will talk about how memorable customer experience shouldn't be left to chance, okay? So these things are not going to happen if you don't have the purpose and the intent to make them happen. So I'm going to be showing you how we're going to do that, but most importantly, actually, the role of empathy and how empathy and compassion play such a key role in doing this. And if we do this, obviously our businesses will thrive, and I'll show you how we can do that. One thing that I want to highlight before I continue, and this is something that sometimes people think that customer service is customer experience. I just want you to very quickly give you a quick definition. Customer service is an element of customer experience. So customer experience is the overarching experience that your customers live with your business across every single thing that you have in your business. It could be your website, your social media, any platforms that you might have, including customer service. Does that make sense? And obviously, we're going to be defining customer experience, and that will clarify things slightly further. So customer experience is the compound of direct and indirect interactions with a brand, product, or service over time. So if you think of yourself as a customer, you probably have done some engagement with a brand, product, or service that it starts before actually thinking of that brand, product, or service. And there is a reason before you actually click on that Buy Now button, there's a reason why you did that. Because they might have done something before you actually landed on the landing page or Instagram feed or whatever that they made you feel they deserve your money. So we're going to look at that, how that happens and what actually happens in your brain and how you make decisions. I tell my family and my friends who don't know what I do is that I just play with Sharpies and Post-it notes. It's just simple. That's what I do. And that's one of the reasons that I guess when I talk about customer experience is that I want to show the world that we are able to all play with customer experience and have a little bit of fun. And I think I heard before lots of questions about, should I do this? Should I do that? Hell yeah, try it. Give it a go. In the world of customer experience, it's all about trying stuff. It's about piloting stuff. It's about prototyping stuff. That's the official terminology. You prototype it, right? Fancy word to say, I'm just going to see how it goes because I think this might help my customers or users. So you do it and put it together, get some feedback, and make it happen. So I created a Square One, which is a human-centered design practice, and we help lots of organizations in understanding the problems that customers have, define potential solutions, prototype these solutions, and put them in market just to see what people have to say, and if actually there's going to gain any traction. And we also have a platform called Purposeful CX here in Breezy. Go Breezy! That we provide loads of upskilling for anyone who wants to learn about problem creative solving and design thinking as well. And why is customer experience so important, and why I'm building what I'm building? Like, why? What is this happening? Well, there's a couple of reasons. We know first that individualized experiences is really the #1 expectation from customers. It's not even personalized experiences, it's actually individualized experiences. I want you to give me what I want for me. Not for anybody else, but for me. So how are we going to do that? We know that the digital transformation and social media world is moving faster than ever, right? Obviously we know that a lot of you are scrolling your Instagram accounts every day at night and not sleeping well. Here, right? But ultimately, it's about the connection that we build with those customers when we're in this really busy world. And it's your duty of care to ensure that you're creating experiences that are equally profitable, memorable, and connected. I want to know, and we're going to run a really quick exercise, and we're going to do it this way. I would like to know, out of these 3 brands, who would you be more likely inclined to recommend? Sounds good? So it's going to be 1 clap, and you can clap for each of these brands even though you love them all, okay? That's cheating, not allowed. So number 1, clap if you think you will be recommended Airbnb. Awesome, good job. Clap if you will be recommending Amazon. Fair enough. This is differently in the US. Clap if you will be recommending The Iconic. Yeah, we have some shoppers in the room, don't we? Alrighty, so now, who do you think provides the worst customer experience? We have a clear winner, but I'll leave it to you. So, Qantas, you're gonna say boo if you think Qantas delivers the worst customer experience. Go. Nice. Oh, Qantas, you're doing a good job. Virgin Australia, boo if you think they're providing the worst customer experience. Go. Oh, nice. Better than Qantas. Good. Okay. Okay. Tiger Airways, please boo if you're gonna. Okay, got it. We have a clear winner, don't we? The reason why I wanted you to do this exercise is because we know that the brands that are doing this terribly or badly, they're creating there's a consequence, and it's a result, whether positive or negative. And if you're building that disconnection, like exactly when you went boo for Tiger Airways, and if you have customers who are going to be going boo for your businesses, organizations, startups, there's going to be a brand perception problem and brand recognition. They're not going to be engaging with you, as well as brand reputation, customer satisfaction. Does anybody tracks customer satisfaction in the work that you do? It's a thing in the big corporate world. Corporates love to do this stuff and waste their time, but it could be useful. Yeah, customer retention, huge one. We know that it's easier to retain a customer than to get a new one. Employee productivity and employee retention. This is something that doesn't come as a very straightforward answer, but it turns out that if our employees are happy, they will provide a better experience to our customers, and if our customers are happy, they will make our employees happier as well. Cool, right? Like it doesn't sound like it's related, but it's quite a bit. So we're not talking about employee experience, which is one of the topics I love to talk about, but we could talk about that later. One of the things I want to show you is this stat, which is quite scary, and is that 8 in 10 customers will switch companies if bad experience is provided, and by 2020, 51% of customers will expect that companies will proactively offer suggestions before the consumer even makes contact. It's pretty scary. And for those who are starting their businesses, I'm 3 years in my business, and it's a freaking scary thing to do when you know that other people might be doing a better job than you're doing. And that is okay. We'll get there. I love this quote, and it takes a couple of times to make sense of it. So, not everything that counts can be counted. And not everything that can be counted counts. Let's read it again. And together. Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. What does that mean? It means that not because we're doing what we're doing and we have businesses and we're churning money, it doesn't mean that we are caring. So there's a difference. And when we care, things happen and change for our businesses, because that's what customer experience does. And I'm going to show you how. We know that emotions are built. We know that customer decisions are built by emotions. And sadly, this isn't planned, but this is Barack Obama the last day he left, and he was like, oh, this is very sad. He's adorable. So it turns out, I'm going to give you a tiny bit of theory, and you understand the background of how we make decisions, okay? So we have this customer experience secret sauce, and when we're working on consulting projects and we explain to people, look, this is how people make decisions, there is this pyramid of CX. So we have ease, effectiveness, and emotion. And there's a couple of things, and you have a few quotes at the back, and you can read them. And basically what this says is like, this is how people make decisions. So they're gonna be easy, right? So if you're putting something, you're just gonna make it really easy. If you're making people click, 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 no, too hard. Effectiveness, are you giving me what I need? We heard before about content being informative and educational. That's probably what I need, give it to me. Then you will be getting more traction. And emotion. The way I see emotion playing a big role is what I would like you to walk away with it today, which is the role that emotion plays in your crafting of memorable experiences. In my opinion, and in my experience, seeing and working with organizations, big, large, or small, is that emotion actually is the number one reason why customers engage with you. The moment you make someone feel, the moment you make someone cry, the moment you make someone have a smile on their face, that's the moment you're connecting. And that will take you that will take you further than if you were making things easier and effective. We do have to make things effective and easy, let's be honest, but emotion needs to be the number one pit stop. So let's just go through that. So if emotions play a big role, what does that mean? Instagram checkout, who is having major FOMO about this right now? Because this isn't in Australia, it's just in the US, it's on beta. And what it is that you can basically be scrolling on your Instagram, and then you'll be able to buy that jacket from Zara, which looks lovely, and the moment it arrives in Australia, I'll be buying it. Yeah, you can do that without leaving the app. So pretty easy, right? Pretty cool. The issue is that when we're looking at what kind of brands are working on this, feature or functionality, they are big brands. These brands have data, loads and loads of data, right? Who struggles with data? Freaking data. It brings a lot of complexity, and we don't know what we're doing with data. So for you, my lovelies, you need to understand what data you have, because you will be very likely looking at doing something like Instagram checkout the moment it arrives to Australia, but you have to look at what you have in place for this customer experience. You see, when you create a customer experience that is frictionless, is easy, effective, it's because your back end, your back of house, everything is working nicely, and your processes, your systems, your people, everything is just easy. So a couple of things is that from an IT survey done in the UK and the US, we know that 3/4 of respondents agree that organizations have a lot of data, but only 2% consider themselves to be completely effective. These are the big guys. These are like the big corporates, hundreds of people, hundreds of dollars in revenue. This isn't us yet. So you need to look at what you've got, because if your e-commerce systems aren't speaking to the shop floor, things are going to be broken down, and you might not be providing the easiest and most effective experience. But if you offer in-store pickup service, is that something that you want to take advantage of? Do you have a dedicated pickup counter to minimize in-store disruption? So this is the kind of stuff you got to start thinking if you were to do Instagram checkout. Who's going to jump on Instagram checkout the moment it arrives in Australia? Not yet. Few. Cool. You're serious? You're really not doing it? Okay. How effective can we be? Let's talk about effectiveness now. So effectiveness is really understanding what consumers expect from your service, and it's about creating opportunities for them to achieve what they want when they want it. Customers will become detractors if that experience is not effective. If you're actually providing an experience that is not giving the content they deserve, if they want to read something and you're not kind of giving that to them, they will detract. They might provide a negative review, and really sad but true, they might tell family and friends, which isn't great, because that's right there and there we're losing a customer. So we know that lack of effectiveness will kill your business over time. So you really need to be quite smart about, like, yes, this is all really lovely and fussy feeling to create a beautiful and memorable customer experience. This is all well and good, but you might need to have your back of office and staff also nicely set up in a way of processes and systems as well, so that doesn't kill your business, unless you have rich parents, and that's totally cool. You could screw it up many times. Empathy maps personas, customer journeys. Who has heard of these things before? All right. This is a must Bible of customer experience, and I don't expect you to know it right now. And in fact, at the end of this presentation, you would have a link that you can download a toolkit that I have put together for you to have a few of these templates ready to go. And this is really available online as well. So this is just the templates that we use for our customers. So that's going to be there. And the presentation as well, by the way. I love this example of Tesco and how they brought that effectiveness and a mix of emotion as well. So they have put a line for people with dementia. So they could take their time, and that's something that it really helps those in need in the best way they can. Interestingly, brands are also offering or advocating for a little bit of friction, which is a bit weird. It's like, you're not supposed to provide friction in customer experience, but they are doing it because they see that in the e-commerce world, it could be a way to prevent buyer's remorse. So we know that millennials now, it's all about sustainability, social environment implications, and you don't want people to be buying things and then have to return them to the store. So it actually helps you if you're in the retail world. And it also a way to introduce pulse points to reflect, which is a really lovely thing to do, because who buys things as like, I need that, and then you're like, oh, no, I didn't need it, and then, right? So if we could pause for a second, it's like, do I really need it? Do I want it, or do I need it? That's what I tell my 6-year-olds, like, do you want it, do you need it? You don't need it, you want it. So, same thing. Recently, I was with CI Events, which is a large event organizer in Sydney, running a workshop on journey mapping and customer experience. And these guys wanted me to come and help them kind of articulate the experience that they can provide to their customers across every interaction point. And before they actually know about CI Events, the moment they're like, hey, CI Events, you're the ones for me, it's like, cool, let's onboard you, and after that, what happened, that kind of stuff. So we work with them, and we use this process or methodology called the Power of Moments. And it's a beautiful book. Who has read the Power of Moments? You got to read this book. It's amazing. It really covers everything to do with crafting memorable customer experiences for customers, for employees, and for you individually as human beings. So we use this methodology, and it talks about different things like great experiences hinge on peak moments, but the problem is that organizations think in problems. They don't think in peaks. So they don't think, what could be the most amazing, memorable thing that we can provide? They're just like, what do we need to fix first? Okay, so and fixing problems doesn't make customers happy. And it is also something that is in the book that they talk about, which is the occasional remarkable moments crafted and purposely built with customers in mind, which will create remarkable experiences. By the way, that clock has stopped, which is cool, but I'm just saying. Okay, so what happened? I wanted to create a remarkable experience and memorable and make it a bit of fun and playful. So I made them get dressed in Disney outfits. And I dressed myself in Snow White. So we had a bit of fun, and it was really cool. And because I wanted to create a memorable experience, and most importantly, break the script, I had to walk the walk. And this is what happened. I don't know if this will play with sound. Hopefully it does. Does it? Does it? Yes? It will? Awesome. Let's do this. And it was about bringing the power of moments into this song. Bear with me.
Only power of those things had me at hello. I can't no way to give this love to all my customers. I know I can do it. I know I can do it. Don't tell me just going to say, let's at least together. This never bothered me anymore.
All right, that's it. The video is longer, but I don't want you to just like, thank you. To this day, my husband hasn't been able to watch it. He's like, I can't watch it. So it's so funny. I'm gonna make him one day. So why did I do this? Well, oopsie, sorry. Because I wanted to break the script. I wanted to make it fun. And the moment you show people how it's done, then they're just like, oh, this is really embarrassing, but okay, let's do it too. So at the end of the workshop, I made them create a very let-it-go versions of everything they've learned and everything they promised to deliver to their customers. It's really embarrassing, but hilarious. So, breaking the script and building peaks will make customers more likely to engage with you and drive connection and elevate the experience. So how can we craft memorable moments and break the script? Empathy is the foundation of actually delivering experiences, because the number one thing that you have to do is to empathize with customers and understand what is it that they need, what is it that they want, and what are the gaps. So you want to provide the gap. You want to provide what is it that they can't get from other businesses potentially. And so Brené Brown, who knows Brené Brown? She's a sweetheart. She's clever. Woohoo! I know Brené. If you're listening somewhere one day. She is amazing. So for those who don't know Brené, she's a research on topics of vulnerability, empathy, failure, and resilience. She's got amazing books and videos on Google if you want to go. She has this beautiful empathy video, which I will invite you to watch later. But there are a couple of elements that she talks about. It's like empathy is about perspective taking. It's about understanding someone else's perspective, which is truly, truly hard to do. Do I have 2 minutes? Is that 2 minutes? Oh my God. Okay, so let me just push through. I will push through. So this is a really quick story about General Electric's engineer who actually went and created this MRI machine thinking that he had put together the most beautiful MRI machine ever invented. And he went to a hospital and actually was talking to a nurse, and as he was talking to the nurse, he realized that there was a family coming. And he noticed that there was a little girl with his parents going looking very scared and petrified, in fact. In that moment, he sees the girl telling her Mom, I'm really scared. And the mom says, it's okay, honey, I'll be right outside. So little children and this little girl had to lay still in this brick-looking machine, and they have to do that and costing the hospital thousands of dollars. So he, at that moment, he empathized and he cried. He realized that he had screwed up. He never understood his customers, these little children, and he went back to the board and changed things and actually made them look a little bit more like this. Oh, wow. Super cool, huh? Super, super cool. And later he made another one look like a submarine. So again, you're able to do this kind of stuff if you take a moment to talk to the customers that matter the most. And so emotions will play a key role. An incredible experience will be the unreasonable, and that's one of the takeaways that I would love you to look into. How can you be the unreasonable? And so what does all of this mean to you? Is that basically customers are going to be curious, demanding, and impatient. But on the other hand, they're going to be seeking connections and humanity. And this is a big takeaway. We're all busy, and we all land on hundreds of different feeds and might spend loads of hours thinking that we're wasting our time. But at the end of the day, people are seeking connections. At the end of the day, when you go home, all you want is to feel heard, to feel loved, connected, acknowledged. And that is no different about your customers. When you're asking customers to purchase something from you, you're asking them to go from the unknown to the known. And that is what we call the confidence gap. So how confident am I about your businesses to put my credit card forward, to put those details and go, I want to do this with you. To go to that bank and say, I want you to do the loan for my first house. I want you to help me. So when you think about customer experience that way, you start realizing that the way you can provide customer experience is by being in consistency across every single thing that you do. Because if you have, for example, a beautiful, incredible website and it's seamless and effective and has no friction, but then you actually send a message and you don't reply in 2 days, that kind of sucks. You're losing that trust and you're making that gap bigger. And when we make that gap bigger, this isn't playing for some reason. Maybe it will play with this. No, it doesn't. But anyway, that guy's trying to cross to the other side and he just doesn't make it. So that's what happened with customers. We don't get them to cross that gap. And they don't make it. So how can you make those customers make it? So consistency, and we know, as we mentioned before, emotions will play a big role. But when they realize that you're not giving them what they want first, the first trigger is an emotional trigger. So they would go, I am not too sure. I'm not confident that, I don't want to buy those pair of shoes from you. Maybe I just keep browsing. I'm unsure, I'm unclear, and sometimes frightened, And the second trigger is behavioral. Is customers become disengaged, and this is one of the hardest ones to fix. Because you might be doing different things from your marketing and comms perspective, and the emotional might change, but behavioral is a tricky one to change. So if this isn't the way forward, what is it? What is the way forward? So attempting to craft an experience that is memorable and break the script is really what's going to help your business thrive and create an experience that is equally profitable for your business, memorable for those customers, and meaningful to you. Because let's be honest, we want to feel connected to the work that we do. We have left, probably those who left the corporate world, like as I did 3 years ago, because I wanted to give a damn about the world, and I wanted to bring awareness to people like you with the reality that we can be more empathetic and bring more compassion. So we want to have that smile on our faces every time we wake up. Oopsie. So, a couple of little things is to really prompt some thinking around how can we do this. And we know that providing design services that are probably going to be driving loads of happiness with our customers is really important. And if you think about it, that's what we really care about. It's like we want people to be happy. Like we want people to get the things that they want to get. How can we learn from NGOs and care providers and provide us human centricity that they've learned for so long? How can we ourselves learn about human-centered design and customer experience so we're equipped with the tools that we need? How can we be less reactive and think, oh, it must be the Instagram checkout, that's the most important thing? And it is. But you really need to look holistically at your business. And actually that's the very reason why my human-centered design practice is called Square One, because it's all about going back to basics, going back to really matters the most, which is the emotion, the strategy, the thinking, and then you get busy and you get cracking with the work that needs to be done, okay? But first you need to be strategic. And why? Quick story, and as I will wrapping up now, is I was a few years back when Ollie, my firstborn, was 14 months old, trying to walk in Bali, and we came across this bookshop, and I bought this book on the spot. Has anybody read this book? Yes, amazing, awesome, good, yeah. So Blake is the founder of Tom's. Tom's, you know Tom's? They have, he created the first one-for-one model. So when you buy a pair of shoes, someone else in needs get a pair of shoes. And for me, that moment that I read the book, is like what Elizabeth Gilbert talks about in her book, Big Magic, when you pull the thread, and you pull the thread, and you don't know where you're gonna end up, when you're pulling this thread, and one day you're like, this is it. That was this is it moment. It took me 2 years to quit my corporate job. I was earning more than what I earn now running my own business, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I want to create a model that we're going to bring humanity and awareness about how we can empathize and create customer-centric and human-centered solutions. And I want you to do the same, because it's your duty of care. So that's what we're going to be working on. And a few ideas as I wrap up as well is how can you build your empathy muscle? And build your empathy muscle, as I said, is about walking in your customer's shoes, picking up the phone, calling those customers to thank them. I'm making a big assumption, but for those in the room who said, I'm an entrepreneur, you probably have a few people, and maybe you are wearing 10, 20 hats. It's easy then to pick up the phone and say, thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you so much for buying and trusting our brand. So understand what's important to your customers, create informed customer journeys. You would have the template, craft memorable and unexpected experiences. Have a bit of fun, ladies. This is it. Like, have a bit of fun. Prototype, play with it, get some results, see what happens. Didn't work? Move on. It's okay. And wait for familiarity. It's not going to come natural to you, so wait until the moment, as I said, going to the gym and just one day it becomes natural. That is quite important. So, 5 questions I would love you to think about is, what problems are your customers trying to solve? And you can think about this right now, you can think about this later, but think about it. Put up top 3, 5 ideas. Why? Why might this be happening? And what ideas can you put together? How can you know if these ideas are going to work? Can you talk to them? Can you call them and say, hey, I'm thinking about this, what do you think? Simple. And how can you check for humanity? How can you check that those ideas are actually going to solve those needs, be easy, effective, and emotional? And so, the power of compassion and empathy is really the base of it all. It's really what's going to drive you to have that fire in your belly to do good and to try to do good for yourself and your business and your customers. And I'm going to walk away leaving you with a little quick story. Last year when my son Ollie started prep, that was last year, my husband and I were very, very emotional. And for those who's got little preppies or had little preppies, or yes, for those who have little ones and having to start prep, it's going to be an emotional day, so get some tissues that day. And so as we were walking out, the prep teacher, Miss Pova, she gave us a bag, and the bag had these items. I'll just move this way so you see it. It had a Kit Kat, a Kleenex, English breakfast, some Minties, and a little note that said this. Here's a little something to put you at ease, a Minty to chew for moments like this, a tissue to dry those tears that are mom, what you think of your precious child, all the smiles and the fun, a Kit Kat because it's time you have a break, walk out that class door with a smile, even if it's fake. Go home, put your feet up, relax with some tea, and know that your child will be cherished by me. I know. I cry a lot. And to this day, it still makes me really teary. So for you, ladies, think about how can you provide those experiences. That bag of awesomeness probably cost the teacher $5. And to this day, I share it to everyone I speak to. It's your duty of care, and you're the leaders of your future. You have already started, you already showed up. So think how you can make a difference. As I mentioned, the presentation and templates of the toolkits will be available on our website, and I will be around during the break to answer any questions, but thank you so very much for having me.